So I want you to be now super uncomfortable and watch this video of an interaction between him and none other than Diddy. Take a listen.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
He signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
We're going crazy.
So young Justin Bieber, who was signed by Usher, involved with Scooter Braun, now all of a sudden he's being put in the hands of Diddy, who, it is true, he became the legal guardian for Usher. You can look up all of the allegations of what Diddy did to Usher. A lot of this coming out via multiple lawsuits that essentially, if we were to put it in a nice context, or at least use a euphemism for something that's really disgusting, the allegations are essentially that Diddy very much initiated Usher into Hollywood.
The room fell silent before anyone even realized why. It wasn't the kind of silence that comes from shock alone. It was the kind that settles over people when a conversation suddenly becomes heavier than expected. A moment where nobody knows exactly what to say next. For years, people have watched Justin Bieber grow up in front of the world. They saw the success, the sold-out shows, the screaming fans, the chart-topping hits, and the fortune that came with global fame. To many people, his life looked like a dream.
Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, he could buy you one also while you're
He
out.
got me a Lamborghini.
That's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last time.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house. And he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
But what if the story was never that simple? What if behind the headlines, behind the awards, and behind the smiles on red carpets, there was a young teenager carrying pressures most adults could never imagine? That's the question that sparked an emotional reaction from Candace Owens during a recent discussion about Justin Bieber's early years in the entertainment industry. And according to viewers watching the conversation unfold, this wasn't the usual political commentary people expected from her. This felt different. This felt personal. Because instead of focusing on celebrity gossip or internet drama,
he did an interview back in 2020 with Zane Lowe. I think this was on Apple Music. And he was speaking about another young artist that was coming up, Billie Eilish, and Eilish. And he was basically speaking about how he wanted to protect her because she was now another young person, a rising artist in the industry. And sort of out of nowhere, he became quite overcome with emotion. Take a listen.
Did you feel protective of her?
Yeah, I definitely feel protective of her. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. So yeah, it's hard because I want her to know that, she can count on me. But at the end of the day, I'm never going to force myself to be in a relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, let her do her thing. And if she ever needs me, I'm going to be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments because people take for granted encounters and, yeah, so, yeah, I just want to protect her, I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So, yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just a call away.
I'm not even kidding. Watching that clip, makes me emotional because he is saying so much without really saying anything. And in this one video, it looks like whatever Justin is doing, and I'm not going to show it out of just respect for the fact that I truly believe that Justin Bieber is a victim. But whatever he is doing in this video with Trey Songz and Odell Beckham Jr. looks highly suspicious. I can show you a still from that video because I think the relevant part is Justin Bieber is not sober. He is clearly very heavily under the influence at this party. And if you remember that lawsuit that the producer Rodney dropped against Diddy, he said that unbeknownst to all of these people, they were being drugged at Diddy's parties, that they were pouring out the liquor bottles and replacing it with other drugs. He kept
I gotta feel that experience. I'm coming back. It's all good. Happy New Year!
The conversation turned towards something much deeper, the reality of what happens when a child enters an industry filled with powerful adults. And by the end of it, many people were left asking the same question. Who was really protecting Justin Bieber when he needed most? To understand why this conversation struck such a nerve, you have to go back to the beginning. Long before Justin Bieber became one of the most recognizable names on the planet, he was just a teenager from a small town with a dream. His rise to fame happened faster than almost anyone could have predicted. One day, he was uploading videos online. The next day, he was performing for massive audiences around the world. Millions of people celebrated his success. Millions more envied it. But fame has a side that cameras rarely show. Most teenagers spend their teenage years figuring out who they are. They make mistakes in private. They learn from them. They grow. Justin didn't have that luxury. Every mistake became a headline. Every awkward moment became a viral clip. Every struggle became public entertainment. The pressure was relentless, and the younger he was, the harder it became to escape. People often forget how young he really was during those early years. He wasn't a grown man making carefully calculated decisions. He was a teenager trying to navigate an adult world, a world filled with executives, managers, celebrities, and industry veterans who had decades more experience than he did. And that's where many observers believe the real story begins.
Unearthing videos of Justin Bieber at Diddy parties. Now, Justin Bieber was obviously extremely young when he entered the industry, extremely innocent when he entered the industry, an industry that he did not quite understand as a boy who just knew how to sing and play the guitar and just did both of those things on YouTube. Then he was scooped up, and suddenly he was a part of people like Diddy going after him and saying, hey man, why don't you pick up my phone calls? There's actually a video of that. Diddy and Justin Bieber looks to be like 15 years old and said, why aren't you picking up my phone calls? And he's like, oh, I know you were trying to contact me through people and I don't have your number. And the next thing we know, Justin is at Diddy's parties.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh?
No,
you ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Correct. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
Tell you my number.
Over the years, old interviews, photographs, and public appearances have resurfaced online. Fans have spent countless hours examining those moments. Some see nothing unusual. Others see signs of a young star who looked overwhelmed by the environment around him. The debate has continued for years. But recently, renewed attention surrounding powerful figures in entertainment has caused people to revisit those old memories with fresh eyes. And that's where Candace Owens entered the conversation. During her discussion, she reportedly focused less on celebrity drama and more on the bigger issue. What happens when enormous power meets extreme youth? According to those who watched, Her tone wasn't angry. It wasn't theatrical. Instead, it sounded reflective, almost saddened. She spoke about how society often celebrates young stars without asking what they might be sacrificing in exchange for fame. People see success, they see money, they see popularity, but they don't always see the emotional cost. And as the discussion continued, attention shifted towards stories and accounts that have circulated online regarding Justin's early experiences around influential figures in the entertainment world. The conversation wasn't about proving rumors. It wasn't about sensational accusations. It was about something much more universal: vulnerability. Because regardless of where someone stands on the various claims and discussions surrounding Hollywood, one fact remains impossible to deny. Justin Bieber was incredibly young when he entered that environment, and youth changes everything. A teenager depends on adults. A teenager trusts adults. A teenager assumes the people around them know what's best. That's why viewers became emotional as the discussion continued. Because instead of seeing Justin as a global superstar, they started seeing him as a kid carrying expectations that would overwhelm most adults. What nobody expected was how quickly the conversation shifted from celebrity headlines to human reality. Candace reportedly reflected on old footage that many people had seen countless times before, clips that once seemed harmless, interviews that once looked ordinary, moments that previously passed without much attention. But years later, context changes perception, and sometimes people notice details they missed before. Body language, expressions, moments of discomfort, long pauses, nervous laughter. Again, none of those things prove anything by themselves, but they often spark questions that become harder to ignore over time. The deeper the conversation went, the more emotional the atmosphere became. Viewers weren't reacting to scandal, they were reacting to possibility. The possibility that a young person may have faced pressures far beyond what anyone realized at the time. And for many people, that's where the heartbreak begins. Because once childhood is interrupted, it can never truly be returned. Years passed, Justin grew older, his career evolved, but his struggles increasingly became public. There were difficult interviews, emotional moments,
periods where he appeared exhausted, times when he openly discussed mental health challenges. And while critics often mocked those moments, others saw something entirely different. They saw a person trying to carry years of emotional weight, a person searching for peace, a person trying to heal. Candace reportedly pointed to that reality during her discussion, not as evidence of any specific claim, but as a reminder that pain often reveals itself long after the original cause. People don't always break down immediately. Sometimes they spend years holding everything together. Then one day the pressure becomes too much, and the cracks begin to show. What made the discussion particularly emotional was the focus on responsibility. Not just individual responsibility, collective responsibility. Where were the adults? Who was watching out for the teenager at the center of all this? Who was making sure he felt safe? Who was prioritizing his well-being over business opportunities? Those questions hung over the entire conversation, and according to many viewers, that was the moment Candace appeared most emotional, because the discussion stopped being about celebrity culture. It became about children. It became about protection. It became about accountability. The entertainment industry often celebrates success stories, but success means very little if someone loses themselves in the process. As the conversation approached its final moments, attention turned toward Justin's journey in recent years, his marriage, his faith, his efforts to slow down, his focus on personal growth. For many supporters, those choices represent someone actively trying to build a healthier life, someone choosing healing over chaos, someone searching for stability after years of turbulence.
And perhaps that's why so many people connected with the discussion, because at its core, it wasn't really about Hollywood. It wasn't about politics. It wasn't about internet drama. It was about resilience, the ability to survive difficult chapters and continue moving forward, the ability to keep going even when the world is watching, the ability to rebuild when life doesn't unfold the way anyone expected. By the end, the conversation left viewers with a powerful reminder: fame does not erase vulnerability. Money does not erase pain, success does not erase trauma, and growing older does not automatically erase the struggles someone faced when they were young. The people watching weren't talking about chart records anymore. They weren't discussing awards or celebrity status. They were talking about a human being, a person who spent much of his life under a spotlight he never truly got to escape. And whether someone agrees with every opinion shared during the discussion or not, one message seemed to resonate with nearly everyone. Children deserve protection, young people deserve guidance, and no amount of fame should ever replace the responsibility adults have toward those in their care. As the conversation came to a close, there were no dramatic revelations, no explosive ending, no shocking final twist, just reflection, the kind that lingers long after the screen goes dark. Because sometimes the most powerful stories aren't about what happened, they're about the questions that remain unanswered. And sometimes the most important thing we can do is remember that behind every headline is a real person, a real life, a real story, and a reality far more complicated than the public ever sees. If there's one lesson people took away from this discussion, it's that empathy matters, understanding matters, and looking beyond the surface matters. Because the truth is, nobody knows everything another person has carried, but we can choose to listen, we can choose to learn, and we can choose to remember that every superstar was once just a kid trying to find their place in the world. And as this story continues to spark debate across the internet, one thing remains clear: fame often hides struggles that the public never sees. Whether you're a longtime Justin Bieber fan or just hearing these discussions now, it reminds us that every celebrity is still a human being behind the headlines. What do you think about everything that's been revealed and discussed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want more celebrity news, drama, and exclusive updates, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching!